Anthony Sargeant, affectionately known as the King of Lee Bank, was a man whose life was tragically cut short in a senseless act of violence. A devoted father, loyal friend, and integral member of his large and loving family, Anthony's murder in a drive-by shooting on August 25th of 2018 devastated his community in Birmingham. His death left a void in the lives of his 8 children, his family, and his neighborhood, a grief compounded by unanswered questions surrounding his killing. Welcome back to Crime Chronicles. Stay tuned as we look at the brutal slaying of Anthony Sargeant and look at the killers jailed for this senseless crime. Anthony Sargeant was a 33-year-old father of 8, known for his boundless energy, humor, and the deep care he showed to his family and friends. Anthony was dubbed the King of Lee Bank, an inner-city area of the city where he lived with his extensive family. The talented footballer founded Rickman Rovers just over a year before his death and was player-manager for the team. He worked at Jaguar Land Rover and was described as a bubbly, energetic, witty soul by his loved ones. As his sister Nikita Sargeant tearfully explained during the trial of his murderers, Anthony was the backbone of his family. His role extended beyond mere responsibility. He was a source of inspiration, always encouraging those around him to do their best. Despite the challenges of raising 8 children, Anthony remained devoted and actively involved in their lives. He was not just a father, but a mentor and a hero to his children, guiding them with love and wisdom. His death meant that his youngest child would grow up without the chance to know her father, a heartbreaking reality that underscored the profound loss felt by those closest to him. The events leading up to Anthony's death unfolded on August 25th of 2018 in Rickman Drive, Birmingham. Anthony had been enjoying a summer evening outside his mother's house, socializing with friends and neighbors. It was a familiar and comforting scene, reflective of his sociable and grounded nature. However, the peace of that evening was shattered when 2 stolen cars pulled into the street in convoy, their occupants intent on carrying out a chilling act of violence. From the passenger side of a Mercedes, at least 2 shots were fired. One bullet struck Anthony in the back, traveling through his body and leaving him gravely injured. Another shot passed through the window of his mother's house, underscoring the indiscriminate nature of the attack. Emergency services arrived quickly, and Anthony was rushed to the hospital. Despite the efforts of emergency medical personnel, his condition deteriorated, and he tragically passed away 6 days later, on August 31st of 2018. The cause of death was later revealed to be complications from the gunshot wound, including sepsis. Anthony's murder sent shockwaves through the community, as the randomness of the attack and the absence of a clear motive left his family and neighbors reeling. The search for justice in Anthony Sargeant's case was a long and arduous journey. 4 individuals were eventually convicted of his murder: Connor Goodwin, Michael Goodwin, Leon Riley, and Keenan Anderson. The investigation revealed that the attack was the result of a premeditated plan, though the motive continues to remain elusive. The defendants were believed to have grievances with a group of individuals, but Anthony's connection to this conflict was unclear, leaving his family to grapple with the senselessness of the crime. Judge Paul Farrer KC, presiding over the case at Birmingham Crown Court, described the calculated nature of the murder during sentencing. The defendants had sourced stolen vehicles and a firearm before driving to Rickman Drive. The journey, pieced together through evidence, suggested meticulous planning, including the likely collection of the weapon en route. Upon arrival, the shooters acted under cover of darkness, showing a complete disregard for human life as they fired into a residential area. Less than 24 hours after the shooting, the murderers were pictured partying at a pub, the force's investigation found. The sentences reflected the gravity of their actions. Michael Goodwin and Leon Riley received minimum terms of 28 years. Keenan Anderson was sentenced to 32 years, and Connor Goodwin received a 22-year term. Together, the four men were handed a total of 110 years in prison. While the convictions brought some measure of closure, the absence of a clear motive left Anthony's family grappling with an enduring sense of loss and confusion. Prosecutors stated that a clear motive had not been established. They also couldn't identify who actually pulled the trigger. But every one of the convicted men were involved in the planning and execution of the horrific act, so were ultimately all guilty of the killing. Anthony Sargeant's death was not just a tragedy for his family, but a significant blow to his community. He was a unifying figure, someone who brought light and laughter to those around him. His murder, which Nikita described as a snatching away, robbed the community of one of its most vibrant members. The emotional toll on his family has been profound. During the trial, Nikita described the immense grief they faced daily. On the day his heart stopped beating, nothing has been the same, she said. His children, now growing up without their father, are finding their way through life without their provider, teacher, and superhero. For Anthony's mother, who witnessed the attack from her own home, the trauma is unimaginable. The bullet that pierced her window served as a cruel reminder of how close the danger had come to claiming even more lives. The family continues to ask why this tragedy happened, seeking answers that may never come. Despite the senseless violence that ended his life, Anthony Sargeant's legacy endures. His family and community remember him as a symbol of resilience, love, and unity. In their grief, they have found ways to celebrate his life and honor his memory. His children, though deprived of their father's presence, carry his spirit and the lessons he imparted to them. The sentencing of his killers, while a necessary step towards justice, is not the end of Anthony's story. His family has called for increased efforts to prevent such tragedies in the future, emphasizing the need for community cohesion and stronger measures to address gun violence. The fact that one of the vehicles used in the attack was linked to another murder only deepened the community's fear and frustration. Anthony Sargeant was more than just a victim of a heinous crime. He was a devoted father, a beloved brother, and a cherished member of his community. His untimely death left a void that cannot be filled, but his memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew him. The king of Lee Bank may be gone, but his legacy of love, laughter, and resilience continues to inspire all who are touched by his life. Thank you for joining us today on Crime Chronicles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends.